Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike Mershazadeh.
And I'm Ashley Ward.
And you're listening to the What Matters podcast, and our mission
to spotlight top RIAs, wealth managers, and investment professionals who are redefining wealth management.
Join us as we dive into their journeys, strategies, and insights.
Whether you're an investor or an inspiring pro, this is for you.
Get ready for impactful conversations on the What Matters podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the What Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mershazadeh.
And I'm Ashley Ward.
And today we're honored to have Kylie Felker, president of Foster Victor Wealth Advisors, joining us from Greenville, South Carolina.
I want to just start from the top.
Yep.
That'll be easier.
See, I told you we'll have some errors there, Kylie. Just tell me when I'm ready to go.
Makes you feel better. That way, when I have a couple, you won't be mad at me.
Actually, just tell me when we're ready to go.
All right, you can go ahead.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the What Matters podcast, where we dive deep into conversations with industry leaders who are shaping the world of finance and beyond. I'm your host, Mike Mershazadeh.
And I'm Ashley Ward.
And today we're honored to have Kylie Felker, president Foster Victor Wealth Advisors, joining us from Greenville, South Carolina.
Kylie leads the strategic direction of the firm and encourages innovative ideas and provides world-class planning. Kylie also serves as the chief compliance officer, shaping policies and procedures that evolve to reflect the financial industry's ever-changing regulation requirements.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kylie.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Kylie, it's fantastic to have you on the show with us. Let's dive right in. As the president of Foster Victor, you play a pivotal role in shaping the strategic direction of your firm. Could you share with us a little bit about your background in the financial industry and the experiences and journey that led you to your current position?
Sure. So I actually graduated with an accounting degree and quickly realized that I didn't want to work in one of the big four firms. And so I thought, finance is adjacent. It'd be a great first job. Really never anticipated that I'd stick around in finance, but here I am. It's the only industry I've ever been in, and I do love it. So my first job, I kind of worked my way up through the organization and was serving as chief operating officer when somebody I went to college with and one of his business partners wanted to start their own firm. They had no experience starting their own firm and wanted me to come along with them. And after a lot of debate, they'll tell you way too much, but a lot, I decided to join them. And so we launched about 8 years ago. There was a founding team of 4. And we really had no idea that we would grow as quickly as we have, but it's been a really fun journey. And along the way, I think we've learned a lot of lessons about what we do and don't want in finance and as we're serving people. So that's kind of my background and why I'm here today.
So tell us a little bit about Foster. We're excited to, well, first let's start off with the name. What's the origin of the name there?
So when we first launched, we really wanted to be recognizable. As you know, kind of when you're starting a firm, brand recognition is a thing. And so there's 3 partners, but one of them is Paul Foster and one of them is Rob Victor. And so their last names work really well together, Foster Victor. And then we added Wealth Advisors because we wanted people to know we weren't like a drywall company. Although at times we wish we hadn't have done that and we were a little bit more simplistic because it's a really long name.
Well, I totally got you there. I mean, we're Rise Growth Partners, but we go by Rise, right? So when I have you, I have you guys written on my board, and I have you just under Foster, right? So tell me a little bit about the firm there. What have you guys grown your AUM to there? I know this information is always wrong. I had around $1.5 billion. I'm sure it's probably closer to 2 if that was, last year. Can you correct me there and elaborate how you guys grew the firm? Did you grow through inorganic growth, organic growth?
Yeah, sure. We're, maybe 1.75 today. Depends on where the market is, obviously. But, we started with just over 100 million. So we really have grown very quickly. It's all organic. We have done no acquisitions and really just grown by word of mouth and trying to do the right thing for all people. We don't have a minimum, which I think is rare in the industry. And we're really just trying to serve people that want financial planning, want holistic accountability. And that has really, I think, worked. I think people want to be held accountable. I think saving for retirement, saving for financial futures, but also just thinking about nest eggs or thinking about a business exit or thinking about, strategically, how do I leave a legacy for my family? that really resonates with people. And so we've been able to really carve out a space for ourselves where we are looked at as financial planning experts, but really creating life plans for people.
Really cool. And let me ask you this: how many total advisors do you guys have?
We call them wealth coaches. So we think of them a little differently. Yeah. And we go to market as a team. So there's really no single relationship that has one point of contact. They should have kind of a team around them. But technically, I would say we have 11 advisors.
And how many total employees are there now?
36.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it started with just...
Go for it. Sorry about that, Ashley.
So it started with just 4 of you?
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite the growth in 8 years.
Yep. And I don't think any of us thought that we would grow as quickly. Obviously, we hope we would, but adding people, I think strategically ahead of need has also forced us to be bigger than most of our competition. We also do all of our investments in-house. So we have more headcount for that reason. We have a professional services team with a CPA, an attorney. So we're really bringing more professional scale and expertise to the table, which I think is different than the industry. And one of the reasons you see our headcount being so high.
I really like that because, the thing is hiring before you need the individuals is always best practice. Most companies don't want to take on that extra overhead. They like to run so lean and mean. And I got to tell you, when there's upticks in the market, and like right now, there's, from, I think it was, I was reading from 20 years ago, there's 5 times as many millionaires now as there was 20 years ago. Right. And we had talked to an individual on a podcast, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. They have around 14,000 clients total, right? Each wealth advisor manages 300 people. And their average client has like 100 to 200,000 with them, right? And so it's a totally different volume game that they take on. And I like that you guys don't have a minimum, right? Because I can tell you that it's always what they say is the team you start with is not the team you end with. The clients you start with is not the clients you end with. You could take on somebody that has a net worth of a quarter of $1,000,000 right now. And that $250,000, with the right person can turn into, 8 figures. So I really like that and good for you guys for doing that. And when you have that team of individuals that are always in place, you're geared for that growth and you're not skipping the beat. So that's probably why you guys have done so well.
Thank you. Yeah, we think so too. You can't help everybody, right? We're not a nonprofit organization. We do want to make money and we do have people depending on us. But at the same time, we find that, your balance sheet doesn't necessarily reflect your willingness to work with us. I think there's a lot of people that, don't want to show up for meetings, don't want to have conversations, don't want to be vulnerable in the process. Those people probably need to work with somebody who's just your standard asset manager. If you really want to partner somebody to come alongside of you, that's what we want to be.
Yeah, I think that's such a valuable point. So as an entrepreneur in the wealth management industry, what are some of the most valuable lessons that you and your team who originally started the firm 8 years ago learned along the way? I mean, you guys started this from the ground up and now you're, close to $1 billion. Any lessons that you've learned or advice you would offer to aspiring wealth managers or leaders in this field?
A lot of things. I think, and I just want to be clear, we have 1.75 billion. So we do have over $1 billion.
Sorry,
I think
close to 2 billion. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think the biggest lesson we've learned is to kind of chart the path that the clients are requesting. I think there's a lot of the industry that is stagnant, kind of doing the same things we've done for a long time. And that's great. There's a lot of people that are happy with that. But we have clients bringing us challenging questions about cryptocurrency, questions about, legacy planning to provide for the next 3 generations. We have clients that are really asking us to evolve in a way that is different than I think we anticipated. And our biggest strength is that we listen. We're trying to evolve. We're trying to provide those services. We can't do all things and we can't be all things to all people. But if we have 5 different clients ask us the same question within a week, we're coming together as a team and trying to decide, is there something we should do differently? Can we create a deliverable that answers that question? One of the things that we've gotten a lot of questions about lately is charitable contributions, right? I think you've seen a big shift in the industry using donor advised funds, but there's still a lot of work to be done with that in general. And so we're putting together something in-house that reconciles, can you do a QCD? Can you do a DAF contribution? What is your annual charitable giving plan? And how are you mapping that out? And those are the kind of questions that our clients are asking. So I think that's what we're trying to do differently. And that's the advice I would give to others is listen and then do what you can to implement solutions that help your clients meet their goals.
That's fantastic. Let's dive into your firm's success a little bit. Building a successful firm like Foster Victor requires more than just hard work. It also involves implementing effective strategies and insights. You kind of mentioned a little bit about listening to your clients' needs and implementing those things. Any secrets you believed to success to get a firm even, over that $1 billion mark to where you guys are now? Or changing strategies that you think really have propelled Foster Victor to where it's at?
Caring about the details, I would say, is one of those things. We have a really high service standard. Like, for instance, one of our kind of quote unquote rules is that people will be responded to within 24 hours.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. And I think from any service industry, right, we've all experienced the lack of follow through from people. People say they're going to do something, they don't do it. They don't call you back. We don't want to be that firm. Even if we don't know the answer, we want to respond. We want to do everything we can to make sure that you are top of mind for us, no matter what level client you are for us. So I think that is one of our secrets, is doing what we say we're going to do, trying to keep a high service standard. And then from there, I think it's providing meaningful experiences. We try to really wrap our arms around clients. And if that means, sending a little gift when they have surgery or congratulating them when their last child leaves the nest and they're officially empty nesters, those are the kind of milestones we want to celebrate with people. We actually do a card in-house where if somebody retires, we all record a message saying, congratulations on retirement.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
It's the little things. It's the things I would want to get in the mail.
Absolutely.
Are you saying that your clients that retire, you guys send that out to them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah,
it's a really exciting time.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. And speaking of success, how do you measure success as a leader in your role, a financial advisor? Let's hear it.
I think that answer changes every day for me, but I think my goal is to leave a lasting impact on people. I want people to feel like they learned from me, but also that I cared for them. I'm a servant leader by nature, so I think coming alongside of people, helping them create balanced lives where they're meeting goals personally and professionally. I hope that no matter how long people work for us, they leave Foster Victor a better person than when they started with us. And I think doing that effectively for our internal team helps them do that effectively for our clients externally. And then in the community as well, making sure we're giving time and energy. So I think for me, it's about impact, but really impact through other people and kind of creating ripple effects because of it.
Really cool.
That's great. And I kind of want to ask you this question now that you said impact. Is there by chance a story that you could share with us where you felt like you made a big impact on a client?
Man, that's a good question.
I know it's a hard one when you're making a lot of impact every day in all your clients' lives.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the fun ones for us are when we have somebody who's retiring maybe, and they're sending notes like, hey, I feel really excited about this next phase of my life because of all the planning we've done. Or when somebody sells their business and we call it a ring fence number, they understand the number they need to live off of for the rest of their life and the money they can, kind of go wild with and be a little bit more aggressive with. They have a firm control of that. And so when we get notes like, I was able to put in that new pool, or I was able to take my my entire family on this African safari I've always wanted to go on. So I think those are what's meaningful. When clients want to celebrate successes with us, I think that is where we're like, okay, we've not only did we help them get there, but they love and care about us enough that they want to call us and tell us what they've done and share that with us. That is, I think, really validating, and we love to share this as a team.
Yeah, really cool. I think that's so important too. I feel like it gives everyone a purpose too, going to work each day and you feel like you're making an impact in everything you're doing the little things.
I'll share. I did have one story that just came to mind. I was trying to think of like a good story. So one of the things we do is we have a book club. And as a team internally, we read a book each quarter. Yeah, it's really fun. But we have a bookshelf and we have some of our favorite books on that shelf. So when clients come and go, we welcome them to take a book from the shelf. And so yesterday I was in the lobby and one of our clients took a book from the shelf and said, I've been looking for a book for my office book club. I'm going to take this book and have it be the book club of the month for my team. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, our entire team has read that book. We all love this book. And now one of our clients is going to take that book and share it with their team. So it's kind of, again, that ripple effect. And it was really fun to see. And that was just a little example of something that they probably said in passing.
Yeah.
Now, do all 30 some odd teammates read the same book?
That's the goal. It's not an obligation or mandatory in any way, but we do buy a copy of the book for everybody in their preferred format. And I would say participation is almost 100%.
That's really cool.
I think we should steal that idea, Mike.
What's that?
I think we should steal that idea.
Really good.
I'm an avid reader, right? But it's got to be stuff that I'm interested in. Like I'll read 100 pages a day, but it's generally around just the things that I'm interested in. I've been a part of several book clubs, and I remember the last one. They wanted to they get into sci-fi, and I was like, I just can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't read a book about science fiction. Anyhow, what book was it that your client had taken off the shelf?
It was actually my book, which is one of the reasons the story was so meaningful.
Okay. Was it one that you wrote?
No, not one I wrote, but the book I chose for last quarter was The Energy Bus by John Gordon. Great book.
Writing that down.
I'm writing that one down too.
What's great about the book is it's a fable. So it's a really easy read and kind of, it has a little bit of a corniness to it, but it just hits on all cylinders for me about the value of life and the value of positivity and the value of making sure the people on your bus are the people you want on your bus and the people that are having positive impact on you. So it's a really great story.
That is cool.
Love that. So leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the culture and direction of your firm. It sounds like you guys have a great culture over there at Foster Victor. What are some of your leadership philosophies or principles that guide you and your executive team over there?
I think the biggest one for us is gratitude. I think gratitude is kind of an overlooked skill. It's also free and it takes very little time, but we want to be gracious for our clients. We want to make sure they understand that we're grateful to have them. But then I think internally, I think so often we overlook the small favors or the small collaborations that people are providing on a daily basis. And we want our team to remember that gratitude is essential. And I think creating a culture where everybody's valued, everybody says thank you is our goal, both internally and externally. And I think that as leaders, we do that constantly throughout the organization to make sure people feel heard and seen. And I think it's working.
I like that. And let me ask you this. And everybody works at the office, correct?
That is correct.
So with starting the company 8 years ago, have you guys had individuals that were there? And I guess what I'm asking is how do you guys keep everybody motivated, right? You get, because I know it from, my end at least, right? Where you get people that you start off with and, they get too big for their britches and, they want to go and leave and start their own thing and maybe take people from your company and go with them, no matter how much they like you, right? I mean, you could be having dinner. Well, I should say this is I found it to be true in the last industry that I was in. But you could go to dinner with these individuals, and one night they're like, "Man, I love you. I'm loyal to you. I'm going to be there. I'm here to the end." And then a week and a half later, you find out through HR that they've been surfing for jobs, right? But how do you guys keep everybody motivated? You get people. I know you guys have your I call what were they called, your
Wealth coaches.
wealth coaches. They're I know it's great to have everybody singing the company song and marching in the band. I like to call it, and just down for the company altogether. But throughout the years, I couldn't imagine that you do run into individuals that motivated, that might think, oh, I could do this better myself. Has that happened with you guys, or have you been able to maintain a strong team? And if it has happened, how did you guys get around it?
Yeah, great question. We have had plenty of people come and go. I think for us, we are looking for people that want to continue to grow, want to lead balanced lives, want to be focused on the client. I think unfortunately in the industry, we sometimes have a reputation of having a lot of people out on the golf course, right? Or having a lot of people that do it as a lifestyle business. That's not what we're about here. And so I think it's easy for us to say it's not a mutual fit. I think initially, especially early on, and still some days for me, it's hard not to take it personally. But I think we've also come to terms with the fact that if they're here for 6 months or 6 years, we're still grateful for the time they were here. Every team member has had an invaluable impact on the firm. Even if it was somebody that, we parted and we're better off without them, we've learned something from that experience. We're trying to get better. We're trying to continue to evolve. And so I think looking at every opportunity as a learning experience, even if in the moment you need an extra glass of wine to process it, we know that it's very standard for people to be in their jobs 2 to 3 years. Our industry is not going to be different from that. And so I think it's trying to pour into people while they're here, and not take it personally when they decide their next opportunity it's time for that, and try to be excited about the impact we've had on their professional career and hope that they'll take some of it with them. And it's easier said than done, but that is what we're trying to do, because we want a team of people that are all rowing in the same direction, and it has to be a mutual fit because you spend a lot of time at the office.
Yeah. And do you guys, is there like a succession plan there? Is there a G2 that's I've seen that that's been pretty big in this industry. Do you guys entice into your teammates to stay by offering up stock in the company or letting them buy into the company?
We don't, but I think we're in a unique position in that our ownership team is, I'm the youngest, but we're all between 36 and 45. So succession to us isn't a necessity just yet. But that doesn't mean we're not pouring into everybody and continuing to bring people along, because you never know what might happen. So we do have a written business continuity plan. But for us, it's less about succession because we still have a lot of time left in our working lives.
Yeah, I like that.
And that this is a question that Mike usually gets to, but came to mind. So when you're looking for hiring new advisors and bringing them on, are you guys looking towards that younger generation? Or are you looking for someone who's had, some experience out of college and already done a few jobs?
We love a little experience, but we've also found that sometimes experience comes with bad habits. And I say that in the nicest possible way. But so we've actually had a lot of success kind of growing people throughout the organization. We find, especially if you come in and you maybe start in one role, learn what you like, take an interest in the other departments, there's a good chance we can move you into a role that best suits your personality and your vision for your future. And so we've had the most success with that. But we love getting people with some industry experience, obviously, great perspective, great opportunity to learn from them. So I wouldn't say we're opposed to either, but we have found that growing people in-house and kind of teaching them the ways that we prefer does have some pros.
And looking ahead, what does the future of wealth management look like from your perspective? You told us a little bit about your future of your firm, but the industry in a whole, any trends, technologies that you believe will be shaping the industry in the coming years?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, the biggest thing that I don't think is going to happen is a shift away from people. I think a lot of people are talking about fintech, and a lot of people are talking about robo platforms and the fit that they have in the industry. I think there is a place for them. I think using technology is advantageous because of the ability to be efficient, but I don't think it changes face-to-face personal interaction. We have a lot of clients that don't live in Greenville, South Carolina. We still try to do Zooms with them where we can see their eyes. It's so much easier to have a conversation and understand reaction and facial expressions when you can see people. So I believe that while a lot of things will continue to evolve and the technology is going to truly enhance our ability to service more clients in a broader geography, I think having the relationships is going to continue to be important. And I think contrary to popular opinion, that's across every age range. Every person we work with, no matter what age, they like those relationships. Yes, the older people tend to be the ones that really want to come in, twice a year and sit down and look you in the eye. The younger generations still want to do that, maybe just over Zoom, but relationships are important at every level, and I don't see that changing.
Yes. So you talked a little bit about AI. How do you foresee AI impacting the wealth management space? Are you guys utilizing it at all a little bit to, help make your team more efficient?
We haven't really yet. I would say we are continuing to look at new software programs. And I think a lot of our software partners are integrating AI components, or I guess I would say AI automation is maybe what I'm seeing in the industry more. And so we are happy to take advantage of that. But we don't have anything that I would say is a total 360 from what we're doing today just yet. I think we're just trying to, think about how we can enhance the service offerings we already have using technology, any kind of technology. And so I think as things are continuing to come forward and really our software partners are leveraging that, we want to leverage that.
Right.
Really cool. And so let's shift our focus to investments. What investment sectors are you, Foster Victor, most excited about right now? Are there any emerging trends or opportunities that you guys believe hold significant potential for wealth creation?
I would say for us, alternatives are something we're looking at a lot. We still are firm believers in the stock market and firm believers in really U.S. companies and their ability to manage cash flow and financial forecasting. But I think there's opportunities, whether that's locally or, throughout the U.S. to have impact, whether that's real estate or even, supporting entrepreneurs. But we're seeing a shift where clients would like to take advantage of those. I think, especially as interest rates have risen, you've seen some of those types of companies look for alternative funding sources. And so I think there's a real opportunity to be that gap and work with clients to help them, with their passion projects.
Really cool. And so I guess finally, this is always a question that, it's my favorite question. So it's always one that we end with. But, so much has happened with our economy, right? I mean, we've doubled our debt. We've watched the 10-year treasury go from, all the way down to 5% during COVID, all the way up to 5% now, hanging out in like the mid fours or something like that. Mortgage interest rates are close to 7% or above, and car loans are 10, 11%. What's your outlook? The election's coming up. What's your economic outlook? What are your insights into the state of the economy, near term, long term? What factors do you believe will shape economic trends and influence investment strategies moving forward? I guess what I'm asking is, what's your guys' outlook on the economy, and how do you think that's going to shape our industry or affect our industry in any way?
I wish I had a magic ball for that. But I would say in general, I think twofold. I think the first thing is I think election years are always tumultuous, lots of volatility. I think we'll see lots of quick shifts up and down. But I think overall throughout the year, things will stay pretty stagnant. I don't think we'll see anything crazy until after the election. And even then, who knows what that will bring. But I think the news cycle right now is fast and exciting. But I think overall things will stay pretty stagnant this year. And that's what we're communicating with clients, is trying to avoid the impulsive reactions you have to fast news and think strategically about trends and what you're really seeing, because it can be distracting. There's, as you know, plenty of distractions when there's political elections. And then I think the second thing, in answer to maybe your broader question, is we believe in U.S. entrepreneurs. We believe in U.S. companies. I think there are definitely companies that will struggle as the monetary cycles change and as money becomes tighter. But overall, I think people have kept cash on the sidelines, so they're prepared for this. I think you've seen that with logistics or pricing, even international kind of disputes. I think companies are, they're smart, they're resourceful, they're constantly thinking ahead and trying to see around corners. And so I think overall, we believe there's still going to be a strong economy and there's still going to be a lot of companies doing things well. And we're hoping we can continue to invest in those companies and really focus on fundamentals and companies that run a strong balance sheet, because we really believe in the U.S. economy.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up our questions with you today, Kylie. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights and your wealth of knowledge. It's been a pleasure and lots of fun learning about you and Foster Victor. We're excited to see what's ahead for you and your team. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the What Matters podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes coming your way. Stay curious, stay informed, and join us next time. Thanks, everyone.